Fender just announced their ToneMaster Pro flagship multi-effects guitar modeling super processor pedal, and the whole internet is completely swamped with this product. This is what Fender tends to do with their product launches. They make sure that every YouTuber and influencer knows about their new product, has their new product, and can talk about it on day one. So that's all you hear about for like a few days in the guitar world. And we are in the middle of that. And because of that, I wanted to do this video that could potentially save you money. So what am I talking about? So if you saw the thumbnail, how can you save $1,200 on the ToneMaster Pro? Well, let's talk about that, and let's head over to the Fender website. So we're here on the Fender website and we're looking at the ToneMaster Pro, and as you can see, it's $1,700, which is quite a bit of money. That is, you know, in the same price range as Neural DSP, same price range as Helix. So they're talking about top of the line guitar amp modeling, effects units, pro quality. Fender's going for it, and it's not cheap. And then if you look at their FR cab, their flat range, full range speaker cab, which you would plug into your ToneMaster Pro. And if you wanted it in stereo, you might do two of these. You know, that's $550, which it looks like a pretty well featured FR cab. So I'm not saying that's too expensive. And it does look like a Fender amp and gives you all those good Fender vibes. So I'm not saying it's a bad deal, but it ain't cheap. And it got me thinking, Fender has a product that does most of what ToneMaster Pro does already, and it has a built-in speaker, and it sounds pretty good. And that is the Mustang GTX 100. This is, I think, one of Fender's more underrated products, and I actually own one, and I'll be doing a demo here shortly. But if you look at this, it's shockingly similar in terms of the features. Now, the ToneMaster Pro, these are obviously different products, and I'm not claiming that they're the same thing. What I'm claiming is they share the same DNA. Also, I'm a computer programmer by trade, and so I really understand why they share the same DNA. They have basically the same software platform, a lot of the same modeling technologies, but the ToneMaster Pro is obviously more powerful. How much more powerful is the ToneMaster Pro though? That's the big question. From what I heard, it's like a 8-core processor that was mentioned on one of the, I think the Andertons video where they were deep diving with one of the Fender people. And they said it was like an 8-core processor. I'm not sure if they're using all 8 cores at the same time or if they are using half of them and then they make it so that you're using the other half for like seamless switching, something like that. There's a lot of stuff that they're doing on here that is very cool and very interesting that the GTX is not doing, but they share a software platform and they share a lot of the same modeling technology. And so here's like what I mean. A lot of the models, and I mean, the GTX 100 is the most recent. I think it's 2 to 3 years old, came out during the pandemic, so maybe not everybody saw it, but it has pretty much the same guitar modeling tech that the ToneMaster Pro does. So, you know, if you look at the interface, for example, a lot of this looks exactly like the interface for the Mustang app. So if you look at the Fender Tone app, and I'll maybe throw some screenshots on there, the interface is identical. So Fender already had basically the working app with all the pretty touch functionality and stuff. The external effects loops, they put 4 on here, which is again, very cool. And it's stereo, so that's pretty impressive. However, the GTX 100 already had pretty good IO on the back of it. Let's see if I can find a cool picture. So it already came with stereo effects loop and stereo line outs, which again, a lot of amps like this don't have. The ToneMaster Pro obviously has more IO, but not dramatically more IO. The interface, I'm guessing the ToneMaster Pro is easier to use in some ways because all of these foot switches are also double as knobs that you can turn and stuff. So again, that's very cool. But again, you have the touch screen app on here, which is pretty good. You also have, oh, I don't know if they have a good picture at the top. They do. Okay. So they also have some of the basic knobs here. So operating the GTX 100 is not that bad. Again, it's not as fancy as the ToneMaster Pro, probably. The point here is like, say you take the Super Reverb or the Princeton Reverb in the ToneMaster Pro and you dial up pretty much the same thing in the GTX 100, you're probably going to get more or less the same sound. Now, maybe not, like there might be higher resolution. It might be, you might be able to run more effects in the ToneMaster Pro because it does have more processing power. But for a lot of players, you're not necessarily going to notice a lot of the difference. The other thing is the GTX 100 comes with this pedal, and the pedal is cool because again, it has a built-in looper, so you can do the looper thing. It has the ability to assign different effects to each of these foot switches. So, you know, again, you could have your delay reverb, compressor, boost, or overdrive, and have those assigned to that. And so on each preset, you have, you know, a bunch of on-off switches for your favorite effects, which makes it pretty versatile and useful. The ToneMaster Pro actually has fewer amp models than the GTX 100, which surprised me. I went through and looked at it, and like it's pretty much, the ToneMaster Pro has most of the things that the GTX, like quite a few, probably half or more of what the GTX 100 has. But then there's some Fender amps that the GTX 100 had that the ToneMaster Pro doesn't. The ToneMaster Pro, probably with some software updates, will get more amps. I expect it will have like bass amps at some point too, which will be very cool. But to begin with, the ToneMaster Pro has, I mean, it covers all the bases, frankly, that you would probably need. But the Mustang GTX 100 also pretty much has all of that. The other thing is the Mustang GTX 100 has a speaker. It might not be the world's greatest speaker, but it's a decent Celestion. It can do 100 watts. It can be loud. It can sound good. It's a little bit futzy in terms of like figuring out what you personally enjoy in terms of the global EQ versus a particular amp EQ. So there's a bit of menu diving and settings and stuff on the GTX 100 to make it sound really good, but pretty sure you're going to be doing that on the ToneMaster Pro as well. So just my sort of overall thought is that the ToneMaster Pro looks like a great piece of gear and is definitely an awesome high-end guitar multi-effects unit that does everything and is very seemingly easy to use. So Fender, I think, knocked it out of the park. If you're someone who does not have $1,700, but wants to get a lot of the features of the ToneMaster Pro, I would suggest going to your local Guitar Center and messing with the GTX 100 or the GTX 50. The GTX 100, I think, is a better deal because it comes with the foot switch. It's $100 more, and I think they charge basically $100 for the foot switch. So kind of a no-brainer to get the GTX 100, in my opinion. So if you want a pretty good idea of what Fender modeling actually sounds like, just go check out one of these. That'll probably give you 80 to 90% of the feel and the vibe of the ToneMaster Pro. Now, you know, obviously the FR cab here is super interesting in my opinion. Not cheap, but interesting. And it might really be, you know, it kind of might bridge the gap for the ToneMaster Pro kind of in the same way that the Line 6 power cab kind of does for the Helix, right? As far as giving you that amp in the room feel. But again, if you want the amp in the room feel, you can also just get the GTX 100. That's probably enough of me rambling about this, but given that Fender is doing their media blitz to try and get everyone to drop $1,700 on a really awesome looking guitar pedal, figured it'd be worthwhile to let you know that they have another option that is way more affordable and probably easier to go mess around with now. Because I'm sure, you know, this isn't going to be in every store right away. So there's probably going to be some amount of supply issues and all of that kind of stuff. So if you actually want to sit down and like mess around with Fender modeling, the GTX 100 is probably the best way to do that right now until these are in a bunch of stores. At some point, Fender, because they're going to do the same thing that Line 6 does and the other companies do, they're going to release a more affordable version that is probably a cut down version, sort of the Pod Go versus Helix kind of vibe, right? Where you go, it's probably going to be less powerful. It's probably going to be cheaper. I'm guessing they're going to shoot for the $400 to $500 range. ToneMaster Go, whatever they call that. When that comes out, just know that that might end up looking a lot closer to what you get on the GTX 100 already than, you know, something that is just wildly different. So with that being said, I'm going to do like a really quick tone demo so you get an idea of what the Mustang GTX 100 sounds like, and that'll be the video. So thanks for watching.